During the early 1970s, a number of government officials came forward that claimed that the United States Central Intelligence Agency was testing experimental drugs on the populace at large under a mysteriously hidden black budget program that was not only being covered up by members of the agency, but was even being covered up through illegal means, as noted by whistleblowers who showed evidence that they were being actively silenced and threatened by those wishing to maintain the secrecy of the program. What was the effect of this black budget program? How long did it last for, and who was involved? Today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be attempting to answer these questions and bring together the information surrounding this impossible-to-explain, morally bankrupt mass experimentation of the unknowing United States populace. Referred to as the CIA Mind Control Program, according to surviving documents from the Central Intelligence Agency, Project MKUltra was developed for the sole purpose of creating psychoactive drugs that could be used to weaken a person's resolve and, in essence, force them to admit hidden information against their will via the use of mind control or heavy suggestion hypnosis. The project was noted as officially beginning sometime during 1953. It was at this time that the project used a variety of illegal experiments to conduct their research, typically targeting African American neighborhoods or unknowing persons agreeing to questionable injections without being fully educated on what was being provided. One of the most notable reports surrounding this illegal experimentation included the experimentation on poor neighborhoods via injections of lysergic acid diethylamide into the water supply. This caused a mass paranoid attack amongst the neighbors and residents of the neighborhood. This experiment led the United States government into purchasing more than 100 million doses of LSD from the Swiss drug company Sandoz Pharmaceuticals, in the fear that if the Soviet Union purchased the drugs, they could very easily cause mass panic and paranoid attacks all across the United States. Other such reports come from sex workers who not only claimed they worked alongside the CIA, but were in fact paid to slip high-concentrated doses of LSD into the drinks of their clients to gauge their reactions from the men, an action that would cause paranoid outbursts, violent attacks, and terrible assaults that would lead to death of some of those on the drug and those administering the drug. This illegal experimentation was not just limited to United States citizens, however. In recovered documents from the MKUltra program, it was revealed during Senate investigation hearings that the CIA worked in connection with Canadian researcher psychiatrist Donald Ewan Cameron, of whom at the time was working on his psychic driving concept surrounding the psychoactive drug. The researcher believed that by using the experimental MKUltra drugs, he could cure mental illnesses such as schizophrenia by erasing the memories of his patients and reprogramming the psyche, a concept similar to the science fiction novel The Demolished Man that came out several years before Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron's research. Under this theory, Cameron received a substantial amount of doses of the psychoactive drugs and began experimenting on patients who suffered from paranoid delusions. When patients tried to come forward about the illegal testing, however, they were disregarded given their history of mental illness. Such experiments included the doctor's electroconvulsive therapy and power outputs 30 to 40 times the normal power for standard therapy. Additionally, Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron would treat his patients using his driving experiments, in which he would induce a 3-month-long coma while playing a recording device of simple repetitive statements. His work would end up being funded by the CIA from 1957 to 1964. When questioned as to the source of his funding, Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron claimed that he was not aware of the money having originated from the Central Intelligence Agency. Illegal experimentation with the help of trained psychiatrists would not end with just the work of Dr. Donald Ewan Cameron, however, as university professors would begin independent research funded by the MKUltra program, conducting experiments on low self-esteem students of their universities. These illegal university experiments would include the infamous individual Theodore Kaczynski, later known as the Unabomber, of whom would undergo more than 200 hours of illegal psychoactive drug and hypnosis treatment masked under the guise of supposed psychological treatment. After Kaczynski's arrest, following his domestic terrorist actions and countless mail bombings, rather than being given a fair trial that could help bring to light the illegal government experiments conducted on him during his time at university, he would be immediately found guilty and locked up in unending solitary confinement at the highest maximum security prison of the United States. The deputy director of the CIA would later reveal that more than 30 universities and privately held institutions were involved in the extensive testing and experimentation of the MKUltra program, which did not discriminate and included test subjects of all known social levels, high and low, unwitting United States citizens, foreign citizens, and Native American populations. Unfortunately, this would not be the last domestic terrorist to make the news after being the subject of the illegal MKUltra experiments. Sirhan Sirhan, the known assassinator of Robert Kennedy, the brother of John F. Kennedy, would admit that at the moment of his arrest, he had been the victim of a CIA mind control experiment. Sirhan's lawyer would then come forward with the evidence backed by Bernard L. Diamond, a medical professor of psychiatry who supported the claims that Sirhan was under severe mental deficiency. Despite the evidence and psychological evaluation, Sirhan would be found guilty and sentenced to death by gas chamber in only 6 days, one of the fastest deliverings of death sentences ever known to have occurred in California. Before the 6 days were up, however, the people of the state of California versus Robert Page Anderson banned the use of the death penalty as a violation of the Constitution's prohibition against cruel and unusual punishment. Despite the illegal CIA experiments, MKUltra studies and psychological research findings left a trail of impossible to dismiss illegal activity. The MKUltra project would continue up until 1973, when several whistleblowers would come forward with information surrounding the project. Unfortunately, next to nothing was uncovered during this time, as the then CIA director, Richard Helms, quickly ordered that all of the files pertaining to the MKUltra project were to be immediately destroyed that year. This forced all subsequent investigations and Senate hearings to rely solely on gathered witness testimony and only a handful of surviving documents that were not destroyed under the order of Richard Helms. Despite the limited evidence, a profound amount of information was uncovered surrounding the experiment, as well as the invention of drugs that would later be used in torture against prisoners of war into convincing the subjects into willingly confessing and providing all information asked of them. These cases would later be traced to undercover safe houses located in outside countries such as Europe, East Asia, Japan, Germany, the Philippines, and many of the United States allies that would be used to hold prisoners or captured terrorist threats for the purpose of torture, forced interrogation, and illegal testing of the psychoactive drugs that would often end in the death of the test subjects. What many people are not aware of surrounding the MKUltra project, however, is that the purpose of the CIA study was not just to find drugs that would allow for mind control or the ability to efficiently hypnotize a participant against their will. In fact, a discovered CIA document on the MKUltra project back in 1955 details about 17 different goals for the project and the use of mind-altering drugs. Goals number 2 and 7 included the study of drugs that would increase the efficiency of mental ability and perception, and enhance the ability of individuals to withstand privation, torture, and coercion during interrogation or brainwashing. Goals number 1, 4, 9, 10, and 17 included the study of drugs that would promote illogical thinking and impulsiveness to the point where the recipient would be discredited in public, promote the intoxicating effects of alcohol, cause the physical symptoms of shock and conduction of extended periods of time, and would produce physical disablement such as paralysis of the legs, acute anemia, and would make it impossible for a person to perform any kind of physical activity. Goals number 3 and 16 were specifically designed for the use of spies in outside countries with the goal of creating a drug that will cause the victim to either age faster or slower in their maturity and can be administered in a drink, food, cigarette, or aerosol with the purpose of providing maximum amnesia of all events without any permanent damage. Although the official claim surrounding the investigation of the study holds the sentiment that the MKUltra project was completely halted in 1973 after the Senate investigation hearing, there are many that continue to come forward with claims of ongoing MKUltra testing in the modern day. The most notable case seems to be that of the claims surrounding Canadian investigative journalist Elizabeth Nixon, of whom gathered substantial evidence surrounding her mother's participation as a test subject of modern-day MKUltra testing. Conspiracy theory groups have also made a continued number of connections surrounding mass shooters within the United States that had previously undergone therapy sessions and psychiatry that proved to not only exacerbate their violent tendencies, but showed no signs of help when it came to their existing mental health problems, with many conspiracy theorists pointing to the idea that perhaps private institutions and therapists across the United States are pushing further CIA testing of psychoactive drugs. But what do you all think about the MK Ultra project? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.